Over an extended period of time now, there's been quite a large developer who has actively been discussing and egotistical to their community for their games, Undertale Dungeons, and the Backrooms VR Escape, and to the people outside his communities for over 4 years now. Despite his acts being in plain sight to many of the members of his community for years now, he still continues to insult his fans and lie to them to this day. In this video, I'm going to expose how disgusting Bucket really is to his community. As many of you may know, Bucket created the game Undertale Dungeons in 2020, which is his most successful game he has created. This game was the turning point in his life where he decided to let the fame get to him and stop being rude to many people, specifically people involved with Undertale Dungeons. Bucket would refer to Undertale Dungeons community as UTDians and would actively insult them, ultimately calling most of them stupid and being rude to them, which is absolutely disgusting when it's your own player base and you shouldn't be joining them in your community to harass members of your own server. On Wednesday the 31st of December, I made a comment about his new update on his game, Undertale Dungeons, and he responded with 1 week timeout because I feel like it, and actually gave me the timeout. This is a ridiculous thing to do, and it shows how egotistical Bucket is to his fans, and one of the many times he's been rude to his community and is looking for a reaction from his own players by abusing his powers in his Discord server. On another instance on the 10th of December, Bucket had announced on his server that he was looking for a 3D modeler to make a rig of a character for only 4,000 Robux, to which I had responded in the general chat that 4,000 Robux was nothing in the development economy. I was clearly an underpayment. Bucket immediately got defensive due to his high ego and greed and replied to my message, "Where is your popular game?" which has no relevance to my statement in my opinion, showing his inflated ego because of his games, which I had stated to him when I said, "This isn't about me, I'm just saying 4,000 Robux is only worth a low quality model." Bucket once again got defensive after this statement and began making fun of me, insulting me, and baiting me for a reaction, and trying to argue for literally no reason as shown by the images. Bucket gets away with this time and time again because he can hide behind his games and fame and silences anyone who calls him out by saying they are wrong, blocks them, and then his community just agrees with him without fact-checking anything, despite his long history of doing this to people. Sure, he can be kind to some people in his community and outside it, however this doesn't excuse the ever-growing list of users who have had hostile interactions with Bucket in which he has never apologized for any of these incidents and will never take accountability for any of these incidents. But this isn't the only way he is disrespectful to his community, as his attitude even carries over to his own staff. There is countless times where Bucket has neglected his staff team alongside the community and failed to respond to any of them, leading to 4 staff members leaving the server due to horrific treatment and not being able to be dealt with due to Bucket not answering any of them, leading to some staff not even attempting to message Bucket anymore due to his negligence, often blaming it on college when that's clearly not the case, when multiple times he's been saying something rude to someone in the chat or saying absolutely nothing and then going on to a game rather than addressing any of the issues in his community. For example, he made an ARC server instead of addressing the fact that multiple of his moderators had left the server due to his negligence. In fact, there are numerous accounts of people saying Bucket ignores them or someone else, which is absolutely ridiculous to do as an owner in my opinion, as he doesn't even refer to people to a mod anymore. Sometimes he even responds with gifts instead of answering people's questions, or doesn't at least refer them to a mod to answer their question, and even encouraged one of his mods to send the same gift to someone who had switched to a mod's DMs because Bucket refused to even answer their question, which is absolutely disgusting behavior as an owner, and someone needed to call him out for his negligence to his community. Alongside the 4 staff that have left the server, one of them was fired, which left the server 5 staff short, and the reason for the dismissal was absolutely absurd, and here's why. Noxus had created a family role in the Discord server, and Bucket had fired Noxus because he thought he was making a cult, which is absolutely insane to me, especially as it's just a Discord role, and the situation of lack of mods was already atrocious. And even today, Bucket has still refused to address the low mod count multiple days after 5 mods are no longer present in the Discord, which is absolutely absurd to do as an owner, as he is the owner of 2 games in one Discord server. There are now only 4 moderators in a server with 4,000 members, and Bucket has still said nothing about the situation. On the 31st of December, as mentioned earlier in the video, Bucket had timed me out for 7 days for no valid reason, which was set directly from him. I had left the situation alone and did not give Bucket any reaction to the timeout. However, multiple hours had passed and I was still timed out, and the mods refused to remove the timeout, scared Bucket would fire them next, too, for literally doing the right thing. So I decided to DM Bucket to ask about the situation, as it's a recurring theme for him to be disgusting to me for no valid reason. I had assumed it was about drama from when I was just 12 years old and had a narcissistic personality and would be disgusting to anyone who would oppose my game, Undertale Dungeons Remastered. However, I am not like this anymore, and 3 years have passed, and yet Bucket still holds on to this drama to this day, despite me being 12 at the time and Bucket being 19 years old now. This just goes to prove how immature and egotistical Bucket is toward this community, as he's still holding on drama from someone who was 12 at the time, while he would have been 16 at the time, proving he hasn't changed since the incident and is still as immature as ever, even after I've moderated for his server previously and helped him out wherever I could. In my opinion, he should not be trusted to run a Roblox game and own such a large community if he continues to act the way he does, and he's proven he won't change countless times after the years, as I've seen before with a friend of mine, where Bucket still holds on to drama with them about a previous project they worked on together. Regarding to the drama I had at 12, while I wasn't the greatest myself, Bucket had manipulated and lied to me when I was extremely gullible and vulnerable at that age, which ultimately left Undertale Dungeons Remastered falling apart and dying due to Bucket's actions. However, Undertale Dungeons Remastered wasn't the only victim to this. Bucket had also destroyed another Undertale Dungeons game called Undertale Dungeons Alive by King Hot Dogs by making the age rating to 17+, which cannot be reverted on Roblox, stopping anyone being able to play the game, which is absolutely absurd, as it stopped the owner from earning revenue on the game. It is abuse of authorized access and just shows how selfish he is when he was the one who sold the game to King Hot Dogs, and he shouldn't be able to get away for this disgusting act just because he disliked the game. Bucket is also known for breaking his own server rules, and has even publicly stated before that he has broken them, and yet doesn't apologize at all, while he would warn someone or even ban them if anyone else broke the rules, which is horrific, as it shows Bucket picks and chooses when to enforce the rules that he wrote, which is extreme double standards when you are the owner of the game, and it creates a terrible image on Bucket. However, this isn't the most horrific part, as in the Discord, there are multiple screenshots of Bucket sexualizing the character Noelle from the video game Deltarune, making obscene sexual comments about the character. While this may be a joke to Bucket and other server members, it is still inexcusable, as this character is a minor, while Bucket is a 19-year-old man, which is absolutely disgusting to think about an adult man sexualizing a minor with outrageous sexual comments, especially as Bucket owns Roblox games where the majority of his player base are actual children. To this day, Bucket still continues to insult his fans, lie to them, and be a disgusting person because his ego is so inflated that he fails to see how horrible he is to the majority of his community, and he doesn't look like he's going to stop. And with the average user inside Bucket's Discord server being too naive to know anything about Bucket besides that he made Undertale Dungeons and the Backrooms VR escape, he will continue to get away with these disgusting acts and never face consequences or take accountability for his actions.